Is Donald Trump compromised? I think it's a matter of one of several possibilities, maybe even two of these several possibilities. One, Trump is compromised because someone has leverage over him. It may be a donor, it may be Mossad, it may be Netanyahu himself, it may be some other party. The question is, who are they working for? But anyway, there's an idea that maybe Trump has been compromised because he was involved with Epstein. Obviously, he had a relationship with Epstein, but Trump also had a falling out with Epstein. He kicked him out of a club. He stopped associating with this guy, which is good news. But two things can be true. They definitely had a relationship, and maybe they had a falling out. But that doesn't mean that nothing else happened. I'm not saying I know for sure. I'm just saying this is a possibility. A lot of people are going to ask, well, okay, if somebody has something on Trump related to Epstein, why didn't they use it during the election? Sometimes knowing when and how to use a powerful weapon or leverage is just as important as actually having it. Because during the election, they were prosecuting Trump with pretty much all types of nonsense. At that point, people would just stop listening to this justice system when they pulled him forward. Because they were going after him for all this stuff, all this ridiculous stuff, and it was just political lawfare. So had they released anything at that point, people wouldn't have believed it. It wouldn't have been that effective. Now, I don't know, with this scenario, it could be Trump, it could be somebody close to him, it could be family member under this scenario. And I'm not saying I definitely have proof, I don't. I'm just playing out the different scenarios. They probably could have used it. They're probably thinking we could use it as leverage once a guy gets into office, if he does win. So that could be sort of like their insurance policy. Another scenario could be, okay, we can use it as our insurance policy, and if we have to, we can replace him with the VP. You got Peter Thiel, billionaire Peter Thiel, who really pushed for J.D. Vance, who really helped J.D. Vance. It's interesting how J.D. Vance's career just ascended, but anyway, that could be the backup plan. We have our election, people vote for whoever they want, then we later on we control that person, or we can replace that person. So you want to talk about 5D chess? That could be something they could be doing. Another scenario could be, or maybe they have some other type of leverage over him or his family. The second scenario could be leverage, as in they could be threatening Trump. Trump could feel like they're threatening him. They could be threatening to do something to his family. I mean, he could be under duress. So, I mean, that could be a scenario. Obviously, I don't encourage anybody to be threatened or harmed or anything. But I'm saying it could be a real possibility because Trump sort of panicked when they asked him about the Epstein situation. I thought it was a panicking. A lot of people thought he panicked. So maybe he's not in the files. Maybe he's not. I mean, he could be in the files, but not necessarily involved in anything nefarious. I mean, that's a possibility too. That's a valid possibility. But I don't think anybody's asking for, who did Epstein go to lunch with? I think people are asking for, who was actually involved with the girls, and were they underage? If they're of age, that's not the interest. But that could be a very real possibility. Another scenario could be national security, and national security could be maybe there's a group of people who would be harmed by this, and now they're threatening to do harm to the nation. So Trump has to make a really important decision with that. Either way, all these scenarios are terrible. The national security element could be they could be threatening to harm people on a massive scale. It's sort of a link to the second one too, the threats. So that could be a real possibility. Fourth scenario could be some unforeseen national security issue where maybe the government was deeply involved in this. There was a lot of corruption, and Trump may fear that if this gets out, this could dismantle the government and destabilize the government and make it very difficult for him to really do anything positive in the country. That could be a very real possibility. And I'm not justifying hiding the Epstein files. I think they need to be released, and I think this isn't going away. And the more Trump responds, the worse it looks. He's talking about, we should be focused on the 2020 election. I'm like, okay, we should be focused on the 2020 election, but we should forget about Epstein. He's trying to make it seem like Epstein's a Democratic psyop. I'm thinking, dude, you were talking about it. What's interesting is Trump he talked about the island, and he also talked about people who may have been on the island. So that's really interesting. Then of course, Elon Musk said what he said about Trump being on the list. I mean, you would think that the richest guy in the new money world, making a statement like that, he should be able to back it up, or else he's going to get sued. Trump could sue the crap out of this guy for making that false allegation. That's slander, right? So where's the lawsuit? I mean, if there's a lawsuit, then there might be discovery or something. I mean, the person you're suing gets access to more information. So Trump wants this to go away, and it's clearly not going away. I see some influencers online trying to protect him, trying to say, "Oh, it's Pam Bondi," and I mean, I don't care about what's going on with Pam Bondi and Dan Bongino and Cash Patel. You know, the buck stops with Trump, and it seems to me that there's maybe somebody else who has leverage over him, or maybe he's dealing with something that I don't really see, but. You know, I mean, when you go on the campaign trail, you talk all that stuff about what you're going to do, and and you don't do it, you end up in a situation like Trump's in, where he had a post and he put it on Truth Social, his own platform, and it got ratioed. People were like, it's pretty embarrassing. So anyway, it's not the only thing that's going on, but it's definitely something's not going away. Trump said something about how he has something planned for Russia on Monday or something. Of course, there was a leaked audio of Trump back in 2024 talking about how he threatened to bomb Moscow and Beijing. I wish I would have known that before the election. I mean, people are pointing out that, Kamala Harris would have been a disaster. Yeah, but here's the issue. People are starting to get to the point where they think that, well, it doesn't matter who's president. Certain things like the Epstein files are going to come out. And when we say the Epstein files, we're talking about the book, the database. The real information, and this is exposing the system for what it really is. People are talking about the system, not just personalities. People, it's not just is Barack this or Trump that or whatever. You know, Obama this or Trump that or Clinton this, Bush this. No, people are talking about the system, and that's a really powerful thing. People are starting to talk about the system now. And how the system is failing them. So this is really fascinating. I hope Trump fulfills his campaign promise and actually gives us real transparency. But between the games that Pam Bondi was playing, saying it's sitting on my desk, and then trying to gaslight us and say, I never said that. What I really meant was this. And, the memo, then you have the ridiculous press conference. Why are we still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? Oh boy. And then and then his posts, which aren't making the situation any better. We may actually find out some real information, because if this continues, if the heat continues, people may feel more comfortable coming out and speaking out. Sometimes this happens in situations like this. But I don't really have all the answers. I'm just throwing out some possibilities. There's another possibility that, maybe there really wasn't an Epstein list. Maybe there's hundreds, maybe 1,000 victims, and nobody was involved in this but Epstein. Ignore the Prince Andrew settlement. He didn't admit to any guilt. I'll say that. He paid millions of dollars, but he didn't admit to any guilt. So maybe it's just one guy in this whole big ring. Him and the lady sitting in jail, Maxwell. Yeah, why is she sitting in jail? I mean, where are the co-conspirators? Maybe Trump's right. Maybe it's just one big Democratic psyop. I don't know why people in the Trump administration, why Trump thinks people are going to go for this. I guess they really think people are that stupid. Or maybe it's just it could be, the whole thing could be, the press conference and everything could be a signal to the powers that be that, hey, I'm not going to come after you. Please don't come after me. I mean, I don't know. You guys share your thoughts. Anyway, if you're wondering about Butler, apparently there's been several Secret Service agents who have been suspended because of that situation in Butler, the security failure in Butler, Pennsylvania, where Trump was nearly assassinated. Even the counter sniper team that took out the shooter, they apparently are partly responsible for some of the failures that happened that day. And So is it incompetence or is it something else? There's so many questions, and the lack of transparency. This could really threaten this administration, because I don't see how they could be viable if people don't take anything that they say seriously. Anyway, the farmers situation. Well, Trump. So there's some indicators that Trump might actually provide some type of amnesty or whatever the heck you want to call it for the farm workers, the immigrants who are farm workers, certain people in certain industries, because apparently we can't find Americans who can actually do the job. Is this what people really voted for? Is this what we voted for? See, you got this, you got the bombing of Iran, and a lot of influencers try to justify that. Well, it's just not war, it's just bombing. Okay, well, we'll see if the 12-day war remains a 12-day war. All right. We'll see if Israel wants to attack again, then what happens? Is the United States going to have a say in whether it has to get involved? Now you got that going on. You're not seeing this mass deportation. At first they were going after criminals, which is great, which is what they should have been doing. But now I think they're trying to get the numbers, and there's a lot of red flags here. So I'm not saying Trump isn't doing anything good. Yeah, he secured the border, which is something I'm really appreciative of. But I mean, that's like the bare minimum. I mean, that's something you should be doing anyway. What do you think about this story about Trump possibly providing some type of plan, some way of make sure these immigrant farmers aren't caught up in these raids? Oh my goodness, this is so. Maybe I just got to look at things for how they are, and we have to hold all these political leaders to account. It just can't be, if it's a Democrat, if it's a Republican, if it's, no. We're going to continue to get screwed over and over again if we continue to operate like that. We have to have higher expectations, higher standards for our leaders.